Law firms don't even have a plan for tomorrow. In the Silicon Valley methodology, that's stupid. So I think the attorney is going to get very shocked and surprised, and they need to speed themselves so quickly because honestly, I don't think they can catch up.
How do you think AI will continue to shape the legal profession in the next decade?
So the future is essentially attorneys use the entire platform to operate the firm. And we've been able to solve that challenge for a lot of the firms nationwide.
That will be very interesting. The intersection of law and technology has been a game changer in recent years, reshaping how legal professionals work and transforming the landscape of legal practice. Now, one of the most significant technological advancements making waves in the legal field is artificial intelligence, undoubtedly, I would say. As law firms and legal departments increasingly integrate AI into their processes, the practice of law is becoming more efficient, data-driven, and client-focused. Welcome back to another episode of Analytics Insight Podcast, the show where we explore how cutting-edge technology, changing markets, and evolving customer needs are transforming industries across the world. And I'm your host, Priya Dialani. Now, over the past few years, legal professionals have become less wary of artificial intelligence. Indeed, they are increasingly embracing AI as a transformative force, becoming more and more optimistic about the positive impact it can have on their practices. So let's discuss these impacts with Hamid Kohan, the President and CEO of LegalSoft. Hi, Hamid. How are you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you with us on our podcast today, Hamid. And we are going to discuss a very interesting amalgamation of technology. Let's talk about the legal profession. But before we dive deeper into the intersection of these two, technology and the industry, we would like to know more about LegalSoft. So if you could help us understand more about the organization, its specialization, it would be great.
We're in the business of scaling law firms. Any kind of law firms, from personal injury to employment to transactional law and so forth. One of the first challenges of scaling a firm is always been staffing. Availability of affordable, trained legal staff locally is becoming a big challenge. So LegalSoft first focused on fulfilling that need by providing a globally trained legal staff and assistants to be deployed full-time, dedicated into the law firms. So it solves the challenge of scaling from a human resources perspective. As a result of that, we have about 1,000 law firms that we have done this for, and we have over 3,000 agents that are working in these law firms nationwide, playing the roles of anything from legal assistant, intake specialists, case managers, paralegals, the whole spectrum. And obviously these folks are affordable, they're managed by us, but they're full-time integrated into the law firm. And we've been able to solve that challenge for a lot of the firms nationwide. To some examples, that we have a law firm in Los Angeles who has currently over 130 of our staff placed in the firm that help them to scale amazingly fast during the past few years. And we do this nationwide. So that's been a main part of what the LegalSoft has been aiming to do for the past few years. And then later on is basically there's other challenges, which is online presence and being able to have an effective presentation online. So we have a complete online presence, social media. One of our sister companies called Practice360.ai, which is provides the full spectrum for online presence very affordably for the law firm. So first challenge of staffing, and then the second challenge of online presence that is effective for client generation and client retention. And then finally, another sister company of LegalSoft is being LawPractice.ai, which basically transitions the challenge into the AI that you just mentioned, the artificial intelligence impact and implementation within the law firms for streamlining and scaling a law firm.
As we dive deeper today, I'm really excited to unpack how your expertise in terms of scaling law firms and solving the challenges of staffing legal professionals by combining the real world solutions that you're building. That would be very interesting to know about it. You are known for advancing technology in legal and medical practices, and you have made a significant impact through your expertise in implementing innovative strategies and AI-driven solutions. Tell us more about yourself. What triggered your interest at LegalSoft, and what exactly is your role at the company?
I got my engineering degree when I was 17 years old in Northern California. So I got deployed to Silicon Valley for about 20 years and working for some amazing companies there. And then got my MBA and then basically moved to Southern California and had a couple of different ventures in the tech and data management and data minings and so forth. And at some point I started sort of going into the area of law, and I found a great need for technology implementations and a structure and efficiency that is very known and common in Silicon Valley. So I brought that into the game by consulting with the several law firms as like a, fractional COO for law practices, and then got me to realize there is a greater need. Later on, I actually opened up my own law firm in Arizona to get deeper into this area. So I'm the president and CEO, and basically creating a family of enterprise companies to be able to service the legal industry and bringing it as close as possible to the Silicon Valley type of a company, because I feel like there were many years behind on technology and efficiency and the workflow process and application and development, a lot of different things that we basically got in there and made it work for the law firms.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Hamid. I think it adds so much depth to the conversation, and I'm glad to understand the responsibilities you carry and of course how your role aligns so closely with the company's broader vision and goals. For decades, I think law firms and solo practitioners have built their practices brick by brick, with a lot of hard work, personal referrals, relentless networking, and expertise that comes from years of training. But like every other industry today, the legal profession is facing rapid change. And right at the center of transformation is one powerful catalyst, that is artificial intelligence. The question we are diving into today is not whether AI will impact the legal industry. I think that's already happening. The question is, how do legal practitioners leverage AI not just to survive, but to actually scale their practices? Now, scaling a law practice has always been a challenge, and you have also rightly said that in the introduction, Hamid. And it's not a traditional product business where you can just increase production. It's a people-driven service. So, because it deeply relies on expertise, research, analysis, careful negotiation, and the list is never ending. So what are some common mistakes law firms make when scaling and how they can avoid them?
Sure. The tagline for the company is the how to scale your law firm differently, is because law firms typically and attorneys and law firm owners and so forth, they're not trained anywhere through the education process or even the work process to be aware of technologies, automation, processes, all these metrics. They were not taught about those things, and they never deployed or hired anybody internally to help them navigate the firm and the practice using those elements. The biggest mistake is made is essentially not recognizing or realizing the needs of those areas and basically getting assistance from a variety of different sectors to help them scale and grow the law firm. In fact, one of the books after I done my scaling the firms and working in the COOs, people asked me to write about it, and I published a book called How to Scale Your Stupid Law Firm, which was a sort of a catchy because it's called a stupid law firm, was because the way the law firm was set up was not proper. That had nothing to do with the people. It was just like didn't have a structure, didn't have a workflow process, didn't have the KPIs and metrics. And that's in the Silicon Valley methodology, that becomes a stupid because you need all of those to be successful. Being short-sighted is one of the big weaknesses within the law industry, and not having a forward-looking, again, going back to Silicon Valley or any large successful company, they have a 3-year plan, they have a 5-year plan, they have an 8-year plan, and they lay out what they need to get by when, with what ROI and so forth to be successful and grow. Law firms don't even have a plan for tomorrow. So that became a challenge. So we tried to help them develop those plans that they can implement, and we help them implement. We're not just a consulting firm. We actually put the components in place, being technologies through AI or CRMs or automation processes, to be able to scale them using technology so they can do 3-5-year plans. And that has been the biggest impact.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really insightful perspective. And thank you for breaking that down so clearly. The very things that make a business successful at an early age can become the bottlenecks when scaling. And I'm really happy to understand how LegalSoft is, putting components in place in terms of putting the right software, technologies, and solutions so that legal firms and law firms can do things differently with more structure, more foresight, and adaptability. Let's keep this momentum going and explore how organization can translate this mindset into action as they grow. So I was just reading this survey, and according to the professionals surveyed in Thomson Reuters 2024 Future of Professionals report, AI is transforming the legal profession by automating routine tasks and boosting lawyer productivity through AI-powered tools that can take care of a lot of things, whether it's document review, legal research, contract analysis, while also showing that AI could save lawyers 4 hours per week while generating $100,000 in new billable time per lawyer annually. Now, that's a lot of figures and a huge impact, I would say. But as we look ahead to 2025 and beyond, it's clear that legal professions will need to stay on top of new developments like AI. And now that we have, generative AI, so I think they need to keep an eye on how these advancements are taking place and how they can utilize them and unlock more potential and impact, I would say. So what role does technology, whether it's AI or generative AI, they're playing in helping law firms expand and optimize their operations?
True. Is much greater and much more intense than originally thought. When we started in 2023-24 developing a law practice.ai, our intention was having some components, like you mentioned, about doing document summaries, doing the medical chronologies, doing demands, writings, and drafting for the firms. And we thought, well, this process is going to go along. And sort of immediately after that, we realized that's a very small portion of the impact of the AI into the law practices, because every single day there is like 5 or 10 different AI solution comes out and says, we do this, we do that, we do that. It's almost impossible for the law firms to navigate, analyze, summarize, or make a decision on any of these AI tools, because it's essentially, if I would just sit in front of the computer, in one day I can select like 7 different AI tools that I need for my law practice. And there is no way that I can adopt 7 or train my people on the 7, or even sometimes even 4 to 7 of them. So we decided in the law practice.ai to create a sort of an AI operating system for the law firm that is a one centralized location, which we have a team of experts, both developers, product managers, and so forth, to analyze this entire crowded and getting much more crowded every day of the tools, being able to connect them together, evaluate them, pick the best ones, or develop what's missing and make it into one operating system that the firm can use for that specific practice type. So this includes anything from marketing, client retention, paid ad campaigns, to automated AI intake, AI document collection, document summary, drafting, pre-litigation analysis, litigation support, all the way to settlements, to be in one single environment, which is a combination of internally developed tools, integrations with other tools that all can play together to essentially operate the law firm. So the future is essentially attorneys use the entire platform to operate the firm. Obviously, it's not going to replace everything, because you still need attorneys, you need people to go to trials, but the entire support team, from marketing and client generations to intake to document collections to drafting, discoveries, all going to be done with AI. And you want that to be in one platform so you don't jump around. I remember the days when I was in Silicon Valley before Google actually came about. I worked with the chairman of Google at a different company for 8 years. There was 8 different browsers: Yahoo, AOL, MSN, Netscape. There was a whole bunch. So people didn't know which browser to go to do what. Or when the e-commerce started, you had to go to 50 e-commerce sites to figure out what you want to buy. Now you go to Amazon. So on the browser, you go to Google. On the AI for the law firm, it's going to be the same thing. You can't go to 50 different places. So that's why on Law Practice AI, we decided to create that platform that everybody goes to, that is already working on their behalf, identifying, testing, setting up trainings, and integrating them together, so people only go one place to get the job done with the AI for a law practice.
Definitely. And I think I completely agree with you that having one single platform to help manage your daily tasks is so important, especially in today's digital age where data is exponentially growing. And it's really fascinating to see how AI isn't just a tool for automation. I think it's becoming more like a strategic asset, helping law firms think bigger, move faster, and of course deliver sharper outcomes. I think the more smarter and more minimal platforms or solutions we have, the better the efficiency. And that's what it is about. It's about efficiency. It's about unlocking new capabilities that weren't possible before. And you mentioned it rightly, whether it's client engagement or case research, I think technology is truly reshaping how legal professions operate. And that kind of brings me to my next question. question. While law professionals, like we discussed, it's a human-centered or a people-service driven profession, and they kind of face various challenges when conducting the legal research, because there's vast amount of case law, there's regulations, there's legal commentary, and I think that creates a formidable challenge for legal professionals who need to navigate and extract relevant precedents and insights. So how do you think that AI can help with legal research, contract analysis, and case prediction?
Essentially, everything like you mentioned about the law practice had to do with data and information and past precedents of what has happened. The only thing that the firms have relied on in the past, in the manual fashion, not the AI fashion, was case law. Basically, understanding what happened on previous cases that have similarity to their case and being able to analyze the decisions, the processes, the challenges, and get prepared to do their lawyering, basically. And it was a very manual process, going to places like LexisNexis and variety of other sites like that to just look at the data. Now imagine you have that data across everything, from ad campaigns that you ran over the 5 years in 5 different platforms, from radio, TV, to Meta, to Google, to YouTube ads or whatever, being able to analyze all of those data and then decide and select the most effective ad campaign to the specific demographic with a specific budget, all the way to getting prepped for depositions, mediations, or a trial. All of this is going into the AI. Tons of data gets analyzed, patterns are created and identified, and makes you a recommendation to what to do or draft the things that you want to draft. So imagine all of a sudden you have an army, marketing experts in legal, intake experts in legal, discovery experts, and there's an unlimited number of those paralegals, case managers, and marketing people available to you through a single AI platform. What you can do with it is almost unlimited, just like the unlimited data and analysis that can be generated through the AI platform. So I think the attorney is going to get very shocked and surprised, and they need to sort of come up to speed themselves so quickly. That's why we also on the lawpractice.ai, we're creating the entire training for the legal staff, including attorneys, to understand what's possible, how to use it, how to make it most effective for your practice area, and taking that burden from them, because honestly, I don't think they can catch up because they need to do lawyering. They went to school. I have 2 kids in law school and one just graduated. So I see what they teach them. They don't teach them any of this stuff. They don't teach them HR, accounting, technology, AI, none of that stuff. So when they come out, they know law and they practice law. So we take it on ourselves to do the job for them that they are not prepared to do by stay up to date with all the new development, new technologies, new procedures, new processes to help them scale their law firm.
Absolutely. I think it's fascinating to see how the legal sector, which was traditionally seen as conservative, is now starting to embrace innovation in a way that aligns with both efficiency and integrity. And what really stands out here is the potential for AI or automation to not just save time, but also improve accuracy and reduce human error in legal workforce. And that's critical in a profession where even the smallest oversight can have significant consequences. Now, when we're talking about consequences, of course, we have spoken about scaling and efficiency, but we also have to address the human side of legal practice. Now, law is fundamentally about trust. Clients don't just hire you for your technical ability, they hire you for your judgment, your discretion, and your ability to empathize with their problems. And I think no AI can replace that human element, but what it can do is free up time for lawyers to focus more on client relationship instead of drowning in a lot of administrative work. Then there's this ethical and regulatory side of AI in law as well. We have data privacy, confidentiality, and bias in algorithms seen as serious concerns that need to be addressed as soon as possible. What are some ethical considerations you think that law firms should keep up in their mind when implementing AI?
There's definitely that factor in any technology implementation. I remember when the browsers came about and they were digging into the web of data and identifying how much of it was licensed information, licensed data, not licensed data, accurate data, inaccurate data. So they had to sort of sort that out and make it clean, make it compliance, make it as accurate as possible. Same thing happened with e-commerce when it came out. There needs to be control and regulations, I believe, around all of these, but you can't stop this moving train either. And you can't step in front of it. You just got to give it the time to develop and get set up. The AI, first of all, is the enablement. It's not something you just give them and says, oh, handle this client or handle this case. It doesn't work like that. It's not the human being. But it can be an amazing expediting tool to enable folks to do things faster, better, cheaper, all of that above. So it's an enablement tool. It does not going to replace all the people, but it's definitely going to replace a lot of administrative work, a lot of processes work, a lot of research work. They're all going to get replaced with AI. But end of the day, a human being needs to be involved to basically put it together, summarize it, and use it properly. And there is going to be all those issues about confidentiality, privacies, all that stuff. And it's going to get resolved over time. I don't think it's like a one solution to all right now, but I think it's going to evolve with a variety of different controls and solutions over time.
Definitely. And I think you laid out some really great points. And, when we're talking about clients coming to these firms, they often come with sensitive and life-changing matters. So if AI is going to play a role, it has to operate within that sacred boundary of confidentiality, fairness, and even responsibility. So I think that mindset of augmented intelligence rather than automated judgment is going to be key here. And we definitely need to focus on the governance and human oversight as well, because technology can't exist in a vacuum, especially in an industry where trust and accountability define the entire client relationship. But, despite these challenges, I think the potential is enormous. According to recent estimates, the legal AI software market is expected to grow multi-billion-dollar industry over the next decade. So looking at how do you think AI will continue to shape the legal profession in the next decade?
I think essentially going to make firms to be leaner, meaner, with a lot of tools to help them, instead of, the firm with 25 staff doing the same caseload. It's probably going to be about 10 staff and doing twice as much cases, because now they have all these enablement tools through AI and integration of those tools together. So they can move faster, they can move more intelligently. But always also remember, there is no AI outcome, doesn't matter if it's a ChatGPT or a drafting AI, whatever, that didn't need some editing in the end or approval. So people have to understand that this is not like 100%. You basically put the stuff in one end and get it perfectly on the other end. It just, I would say, is at the 80% level, still needs 20% interaction from a human being to be able to finalize outcome of the AIs. And it's probably going to remain at that level for a while, but they cannot ignore it either and says, oh, AI is not safe, it's not easy, it's not this and that either. This is, again, you don't want to step in front of that moving train. If you stay on the station, you're going to miss the train. If you step in front of it, it's going to run over you. So you better get on board.
Definitely. And I think that brings us to a powerful takeaway that AI isn't here to take away the craftsmanship of practicing law. I think it's here to bring back the craftsmanship, because by automating the mechanical task, it gives lawyers more time to think, create, argue, and even advise, and the things that brought most of them into the profession in the first place. Thank you for, being on a podcast today, Hamid, and helping us understand that AI will create new opportunities along with the challenges for the legal profession. But I think the future of legal practice has never looked brighter. The impact of AI is just the beginning. There are different ways, like you explained, as to which law firms can use AI in the coming years and the skills they will need to acquire in terms of growing in this profession. So thank you so much, Hamid, for coming on a podcast today and taking all the time sharing your insights with us. It was lovely chatting with you. Thank you for your insights.
Great. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Hopefully we'll catch up later on and see how the progress is made on this AI.
Definitely, Hamid. We'll definitely explore more of it in the coming episodes, I feel. And this is for our listeners. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and you took away some insights regarding how AI is transforming the legal industry and what are some things that you need to keep in mind in terms of implementing them in your legal practice. Nevertheless, stay tuned for our upcoming podcast episode, and you can view all our previous episodes on Spotify and other leading platforms. Thank you so much.